Rolling.
Rolling.
Hi everyone, welcome to Shelf Control. Today we're going to talk about Great Western Trail. We have the first edition and we had picked up the second edition to give it a try. And so we'll be discussing Great Western Trail and our thoughts on the two different versions and whether any of them are going to stay in our collection. So
I already know the answer to that.
I think a good start would be to talk about our experience with the first edition of Great Western Trail.
So we've had this one maybe 3 years or so.
Yeah, we picked it up. It would have been shortly after we were married that we got this and started playing it. I'd heard good things about it, and looking at reviews that other people have done and some playthroughs, it looked like it was going to be a fun game. And
it was.
Eventually.
Oh yeah.
Because we played this and it kind of bounced off of us.
I remember.
We played it a few times and was like, oh, this is nice. And then went on to other stuff.
Yeah, it was one of those take or leave.
Yeah,
we'll play it.
And then we played a bunch of other games. I think Feast for Odin was in there,
but then the one that changed it all was Maracaibo.
I don't think that Maracaibo changed it.
It made us want to come back to it.
Okay, I was thinking that our opinion changed before Maracaibo, but
it made us. I think it was during Maracaibo that we said we're going to give Great Western Trail a try again, and then we loved it.
Whatever it was, when we came back to playing Great Western Trail, the game hadn't changed, but I guess we had.
We had.
Because all of a sudden we're like, oh, this is a great game.
This is a fun game.
We enjoyed playing this a lot. And, I don't know. Maybe that's another thing to the theory with the earlier videos where we showed Jenny terraforming Mars second, and she bounced off of it, played some other games, went back to it, and she liked it. So maybe that's the trick. You got to play a game and then play a couple others and come back to it.
Ooh, what about the ones we love at first? Will we hate them when we go back to them?
Well, we better not play those. This was Alexander Pfister is the designer, and it uses basically an extended rondel. The board itself, you're just traveling in a circle around it, making so many stops. You decide how far you want to go, and the game that followed this, Maracaibo, it follows the same thing. It's a big circle that you're going around.
Was it the same designer?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yep. And also Boone Lake, which is one that we want to do.
We got that on Nerds Day.
It's Alexander Pfister, and again, it's a circle that you keep going around. That seems to be one of his things. So when we did a number of plays of this, we can't really speak much about the expansion. We have it. I packed it in the box. We've played it once. It's not enough to really...
We've played it a couple times, but I think we've enjoyed the base game so much that we don't need the expansion.
And so then, just recently, I was at a used bookstore, and they had a copy of Great Western Trail 2nd Edition for about half the price of the game, and it was still in shrink wrap. So I was like, you know what? I wasn't planning on getting this because we love this so much, but the price was right. Let's get it and see what we think. And there's a number of differences in here.
Yeah.
The big one, that the art is different. It has a softer, more pastel color to it. The board is the same way. They've added a couple modules of a different kind of cow that when you play it, it gets discarded and you get a grown-up cow. The cow gets older as you go, and so it increases in value. Seems a little weird to me that you get to Kansas City and you sell your baby cow and somehow you get a grown-up cow in return. Seems to me like once you sell a cow, it's gone. But
yeah, there's 3 stages of it.
All the cows that you're selling at Kansas City just go into your discard pile and you get them back anyways. But they changed the buildings a little bit. They tweaked some of the buildings and some of the abilities that go on those. And
I think it balanced out the buildings a bit more.
So that was their goal. Whether they were successful or not, I can't speak to it. We've only played this one a few times, but I do like some of the buildings changes that they made, and they changed one of the abilities, the bottom ability that lets you trash a card from your deck. They added, you also get a coin to make that a little bit stronger, and I like.
We were never wanting to do that
because it never seemed worth it. They
changed the bandits.
They've in the original game you had a path that was blocked by Indians, and you could trade with them to collect them off the board and either pay some money or get some money, and that would open up that path so then you could move through. It's kind of like building goodwill with the natives in their territories. And they changed that in the second edition. Instead of the Indians that you're trading with, it's bandits that you're clearing out. And there was some criticism on Board Game Geek in the forums as to whether or not the Indians were done distastefully in here, and that the bandits was kind of like a fix for that insensitivity. Personally, I never found that it to be handled insensitively in here. The argument was that you've got the Indians along the one track. You've also got other spots where there's hazards like flooding or the desert or a rock slide, and you have to clear those away to open up those paths. And since the Indians, you get them out of the way like you do the hazard tiles, people were saying, "Oh, you're getting the Indians out of the way." And
we were trading with them.
The rule book itself says that you're trading with them. I never saw it as any kind of displacement or anything like that, and I think this is kind of a weird video for me because I'm usually all for inclusion and being sensitive and handling things properly, but I almost feel like this second edition, it's almost like with all the criticism, Maracaibo has criticism because it takes place in I think the Caribbean, and you're working for either the English, the Spanish, or the French, building up influence and putting it in settlements, and so you have that whole colonization theme, and he got some flack for that, and it almost feels punch drunk's not the right word, gun shy. It seems like Alexander Pfister, almost like if you and your friends do the thing where you're always punching each other in the arm, then eventually you just make the move and you're gonna flinch. It feels almost like Alexander Pfister is in the flinching stage where it's like, okay, are you coming at me? And so it's almost like it's swayed too far the other way and creating problems where there aren't any. it almost, to me, the fact that they changed it to bandits leaves a sour taste in my mouth, because changing them to bandits that you are taking care of and clearing out, you're eliminating the threat. It's like,
well, then what were we doing in this
well,
one?
that's just looking back at this, that kind of sours this, even though the rule book said you were trading and building good relations with the Indians. And so it's almost like the fix is worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was something that I didn't really think of until today, when I was thinking about what we were going to talk about with this. And one thing that I kind of dislike, and I didn't know why they did, where they came up with these little cowboys pieces in a little cowboy hat. And so you can take the cowboy hat off, and put the yellow on this guy, and the blue on this guy if you want. And it's kind of cute, but those hats just get in the way. If two cowboys are standing in the same spot, their hats are too big, and if you're playing with 3 or more players, how do you fit in everybody on the spot? And
they're top heavy.
And yeah, it's really hard to get them to stand up. But then when I was putting with the hats, I was like, okay, well, which guy's supposed to have the red hat? Which guy's supposed to have the blue hat? And it struck me today when I was thinking about it. It's like, is this also part of that inclusion, where it's like, well, give me the cowboy that's got my skin complexion, because you got a darker one, and then going lighter up to the light wood one. And it's like,
I never thought about that.
It's like, hey, is this intended as another inclusion thing? And that seems like that might actually be the case, which is okay. I mean, that doesn't bother me. I never thought that I was playing a yellow cowboy. I was just playing the blue cowboy because he had the blue hat on. But it's one of those things that just struck me, that it's like, I think maybe they're trying real hard to make sure that there's no criticism for this. So,
and unfortunately, there's going to be criticism in anything.
Yeah, I'm toying with the idea of doing a video talking about different dramas that have been in Board Game Geek forums and Kickstarter forums and things like that, and how I think that there's a way to discuss these things, and there's a way to not discuss these things. And I'll probably end up making that video, because the more I think about it, the more I keep thinking, I just wanted to say what I think, add to the conversation, and see what others have to say. And
but that's not this video.
That's not this video.
It's not this video.
That one might follow.
I'm not in that video.
So, but an earlier video of my 10 annoyances in board games, this one was one of my examples, for a couple things, actually. The insert is not functional for use. It has a spot for everything, but it doesn't have a spot for each individual player pieces. And so I like having all the individual player pieces in a bag where I can be like, here's your stuff. And
but wasn't this one also one that you had to take everything out to put it in something? Yeah, so all of these.
yeah, so yeah.
You've got all of the 1, 2s, and 3s when you go to Kansas City, and they're all just in here in such a way like. Well, for Great Western Trail, we have baggies for each of them. So all of them are in a cloth bag, 1, 2, 3. And these, you have to actually take them out of the bag, put them in the insert, and it just takes more time to clean it all up.
And they included the original Great Western Trail didn't include bags. This one they did include the bags numbered 1, 2, and 3.
But you can't leave the stuff in it because it won't fit with the inserts.
And so, I've come up with a way where it's like I've got these bags shoved in a spot where cards are supposed to go, and then I have the cards shoved over here, and I've come up with a way that this will somewhat pack away, but it's still not the best for taking out. All the buildings of every player color are all kept together. The money, the 1s and the 5s are the same size. Check out my top 10 annoyances of board games.
Yeah, and he did the top 10, but then the 5s are the copper looking ones, and the 1s are the silver looking ones, which is complete opposite in our opinion. But
in the first one, the copper ones were 1s and the silver ones were 5. I think they called these copper 5s gold, but they look like pennies to me.
Yeah. So in case you haven't picked up, we're not fans of the second edition. I don't think that adding those cows that grow up add any value to the game. I mean, that was just, to me, no needed addition.
The changes to the buildings, I like some of them. In the original, there's a building that if you go to, you can sell 1 yellow cow for 10 money, which is a lot of money, but also the yellow cows are only worth 1 point, I believe. They're worth the smallest number of points other than your starting cards. And having multiples of those in your hand is not beneficial because you need to have different colored cows when you get to Kansas City. So in order to get that one to work, you want multiple yellows in your hand, and it's a high risk, high reward kind of thing. In here, they have a building where you can sell any 3 value cow for $7. But I think it's also a building that costs a little bit more to make than the harder one to do in here. So it's one of those things where I'm kind of toying in my mind. It's like, do we try playing it where that one in here where you can sell a yellow 3 for 10 money, do we make it any color 3?
So you're suggesting making some house rules.
So maybe I do like the idea of having that last action. When you trash a card, you also get $1. And that's not a difficult thing to get in your head. And the selling a 3 card for money, but
so you're going off the rules.
Then again, it's $10 instead of the 7 that it is in here. So, I mean, odds are we'll probably keep playing this the way that it's designed. What was I going to say?
I don't know.
Oh, with regards to the expansion. Oh, they've also added in the expansion to the first edition. Added these. Where were they? Was it the tokens? I think it was the tokens in there. You got these tokens that you could discard to draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. To help flesh out your hand. And they've integrated those into here, and I almost feel like that makes it too easy.
I agree.
You can get those things, and it seemed like getting stuck with a bad hand just never happened anymore.
Yeah.
And so
because that was one of the I mean, you loved it when it happened to the other person. You hated it when it happened to you. But getting to Kansas City and you have 2 or 3 grays in your hand that you just could not trade out, and you've got nothing, and you're stuck going, oh, and this one you can only go to Kansas City once, right?
No, you can go to Kansas City multiple times,
But it's different.
You get less money. You lose the same number of points, but you get less money.
Okay.
This one, you would lose 6 points and get 6 money, I believe, and then this one was just 4 money. So that in here, it was actually a valid strategy that the first time you go to the spot that gives you extra money, but you lose points at the end of the game. So the next time you're going through the rondelle, you've got money to hire people or buy more cows.
But when we played second edition, we did not go to Kansas City. I don't think we went to Kansas City at all.
It seemed like a much worse option because you didn't get near as much money. It didn't set you up for the next time through, and it gave you the same negative points.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like the strategic element of, you know what, I'm going to lose 6 points, but hopefully that extra money means I'll make that up in the long run.
Right.
So what I was going to say about the expansion, they've come out with the Great Western Trail Rails to the North expansion for the second edition. But from what I've heard, and I don't know if it's just the first printing of the second edition, but the board and the building tiles and all of that are a matte that aren't shiny.
Oh.
And the expansion is shiny. And so you'd have the shiny board on top. The new buildings will look different from the other buildings. And that, now, it might be my problem, but the idea of mixing matte and shiny together is not that appealing to me. So, one thought I had was like, do we keep this and play this as the base and play this when we want to play the expansion?
That seems redundant.
So it does. It does.
And I just don't like the second edition as much as I do the first.
And the art on the board, the art isn't as appealing.
Yeah, this just seemed more authentic.
Now the pastels on the cover, it's very pretty. On the board, it just seems almost bland. The colors all kind of like merged together. It's not, I'm not saying that this board is beautiful, but this board with its darker colors. And things, that it's more functional when you look at it. This is definitely the prettier game, but
your opinion.
I don't enjoy looking at this game when I'm playing it.
Yeah.
And this one's okay. So I think our opinions are pretty obvious, but
we're keeping this one, getting rid of this one.
I'll ask you: Are we keeping either of these games? Are we keeping both these games?
I say we're keeping Great Western Trail, the original. I say we're not keeping second edition, and I'm not even a fan of the expansion.
It would, yeah. We'll have to get some more plays in order to talk on that. But it adds another action on your board that is the only way to really interact with the expansion board up at the top, and so you almost ignore all the other actions because it's like, okay, in order to do this, I need to do this action down here. And then, so the value of these just drop considerably.
Mm-hmm.
And so, maybe we're just playing it wrong. We need to try it again. So the expansion bounced off us. Maybe when we bring it back.
We got to try it again. Maybe we'll love it.
So yeah, I'm with you. The interesting changes in here with the changes to the buildings aren't enough for me to choose this over this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if those markers for the draw 2, discard 2 were a module, because you can ignore those new cows and not play with those. But if you could choose not to play with those new markers, then but it's integrated into the board now. There's things in the board that specifically give you those, and so you can't escape those. And the bandits just feel a little bit icky to me, and so yeah, definitely going to keep this in the collection. This one's going to go to somebody else who maybe didn't get on the Great Western Trail back when it first came out. So if you were to give, we won't bother rating this guy. If you were to give this guy a rating.
Oh dear, I wasn't prepared. Give me the ratings again.
So the ratings that we've been doing is rating the mechanics and the gameplay 1 to 7.
Mechanics and gameplay 1 to 7.
And then you would modify that up to whatever amount for, do you want to play it again?
Right.
Do you not want to play it again?
I would say the mechanics and the gameplay, I would say is pretty high. I would give it a 7. I like the flow of it. I like how they integrated everything and how everything plays off each other, with the railroad moving across, going to the stations, the different buildings you're going through, hiring workers. I think all of it flows really well. So I'd say a 7.
Okay. And then what's your personal feeling modification for it?
It's not why am I not playing it right now kind of thing. So probably a 2 there. If someone suggests it, I will play it. I would recommend it to somebody who hasn't played it before. So probably in that case, then a 9.
So 9 out of 10 for you. I'm similar. I might go down to a 6 for the mechanics, just because there's some things that I think could be done a little bit better. I don't know how they could be done any better. In a lot of my reviews, I'll come up with some house rule or something to fix things. I don't really have that for this. But
so it could be done better, but I don't know how or what.
You've got all these upgrades that you can do on your board, but it seems like 1 or 2 of those are like the important ones that you're going to do first, and then ignore the others.
Your buildings?
No, I'm talking about like the discs that you take off that unlock those different abilities, and after a while you're just like, I don't care which one I take off to do that, and so I don't know how to fix that. The bonus cards along the side are a neat idea. They give you a strategy that you can try to go for, but they also clog up your deck, and we find we don't take those much at all.
I don't take those. You'll take them more.
I'll try. I'm trying to make them work, but it's difficult because they just end up in your clogging.
But we're
up
also
your head.
not ones to take hazards or things like that unless you have your building out that allows you to get hazards for cheaper. We're not getting hazards off of the standard building out there.
So, yeah. So I'd give it a 6 out of 7, leaning towards the 7, because none of that ruins my enjoyment of the game.
You're a board game snob.
But it definitely gets the why aren't we playing this right now?
Really?
From me. So that would make it a 9 out of 10, just because I wish every game I enjoyed as much as I enjoy this one when I'm playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's this one.
It's interesting that if we go a long time without playing this one, just out of the blue, one of us will say, I want to play Great Western Trail. It always comes back. It always comes back around. There's some games we play that we really enjoy, but we just don't seem to jump on that one if we want to play a game. But Great Western Trail's name will come up often.
Yeah, so this one, every so often, it will get that, why aren't we playing this right now? And we'll actually play it a few times, maybe twice in an evening, or we'll be like, let's leave it on the table and we'll come back to it again tomorrow. So this one does get a lot of play.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, this second edition does not.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see about getting this to somebody else. I don't think that this is bad. I just don't like it as much as the first edition, and it's got a little bit of sourness to it with the whole bandits thing. But you know, if other people are coming in with nothing else to base this off of, this is still a great game. Mm-hmm. And I am curious about the other two Great Western Trails that they've done. Argentina and New Zealand, I think they are, that have changed, same kind of thing, but changed it up a little bit. I'm curious about those. We'll see if those find their way into the collection over time. But so
way too many things have gone into the collection recently.
We gotta do more videos. We gotta start.
Way too many games have entered the collection.
We gotta start culling this collection.
This is only number 2 leaving, and the first one has. Oh no, this is number 3.
Yep.
And the first one hasn't officially left yet.
No, it's still sitting on the shelf, but its days are numbered.
Its days are numbered.
So,
as is this one.
So we've been kind of busy. It's been slowing down our gameplay and our video production, but we're hopefully going to get back on track.
Yeah,
so
this summer we're hoping to maybe even do a staycation and get some videos knocked out.
Get some of these done and get some of these games on the shelf or off the shelf. So we're going to try and practice some shelf control. So we appreciate you joining us for this journey as we go through our collection. And if you like it, please like, subscribe. If you have a comment, if you disagree with Alexander Pfister's corrections in this, or if you think that they were necessary, please let us know. We'd love to know what you hear. And anything else you want to add?
Nope.
All right, great.
Nope. We just appreciate you along for the ride with us.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.